two potentially seismic things happened in two of the industries in which I have a foot. One was the launch of DeepSeek. DeepSeek is a large language model that was reportedly developed using a lot less data and a lot less computing power than any other large language model like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. This is impactful and important because it means it costs a lot less money to build, and it is also possible that now we can build large language models for languages that don't have as much digital presence, as great a digital presence, and in places where there isn't a lot of computing power. So potentially really significant. The other thing that happened was the US government put a 90-day freeze on international assistance. The international assistance is less than 1% of the US government's budget, so more like about 0.5%, but it is a large part of global assistance. The US government's humanitarian assistance alone is 40% of global humanitarian assistance, and this could have profound impacts. For example, the famine early warning system is funded by the US government. It is a system that helps aid agencies, governments, ministries to predict when there might be a famine and prevent that famine and save potentially hundreds of thousands of lives. The biggest impact is going to be on local organizations and, of course, on the most marginalized who, to some extent, depend on international assistance. For example, an organization in Zambia that hires female community health workers to support when women are giving birth has to fire all of those community health workers because they can't support those salaries for 3 months while they wait for the US government to make a decision. Many more women will die in childbirth as a result. Or an organization that builds toilets so that girls can go to school when they have their periods will have to stop that work, and girls will have to stop going to school. This is tragic. And the impacts I'm talking about are a small proportion of what could potentially happen with the US government freezing international assistance. Probably every aid worker in the world would say that the international aid system needs reform. That is not in question. I think there is a bit of a question about how you do that. Saving lives has to come first. It has to be the priority. It's a basic human instinct to want to save people's lives and prevent the loss of lives. That does not seem to be the priority with the US government right now. Although there are procedures in place, there isn't anybody to be able to move the bureaucracy and process the paperwork for exceptions. However, if the aid system is going to be revamped, then perhaps where we should start is by listening to the most marginalized, those who are most impacted. And with the launch of DeepSeek, maybe it is now possible to do what Ground Truth Solutions has been talking about and listening to people, but doing it at a much bigger scale and helping people to be able to voice their priorities and opinions and concerns and ideas in their own languages to help redevelop and reimagine the aid system based on their inputs so that there is a safer and more prosperous global community.